For years, my anxiety has just got right in front of ever doing stand-up. Man, life's short, and this is something I want to do, and do I really want to be missing out on this because I'm too scared? And as I say, everything that I hated in a way about myself when I was younger, I love about myself as an adult. If you're grappling with your sexuality or you feel a bit different, you don't feel like, just embrace it.
I'm Katie J, and welcome to Young Scot's podcast. This is How I Feel. This podcast is all about having open and honest conversations focused on emotional well-being. And today we're really looking forward to talking to Kim all about dealing with anxiety and growing up LGBT. Now, you might know Kim from her comedy sketches on TikTok, or you may have seen her live show at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year. So let's get into it. You're all over my algorithm. Yeah, honestly.
Every time someone says that to me, I just apologise.
No, don't. You're
and then people say that, and then I feel bad. I'm like, oh, sorry.
It's okay. I genuinely can't turn my phone on. It's me in there, and it's brilliant. Like, you're so good at what you do.
I just talk rubbish, and people seem to like it, and it's
working.
It is working. I mean, I'm happy about it, but yeah, I do feel bad that I'm invading people's For You pages.
No, it's wonderful. Honestly, it makes a change from just like, well, people falling over or whatever it usually was. It was like dogs and cats. Yeah. Dogs and cats and you. That's my For You page.
That's what you need.
There we go. We're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker, if that's okay, Kim. Just for us to get to know you a wee bit better. So we're wondering if you could choose 3 comedians, right, to be on that dream stand-up show list. Like, who's your dream lineup?
Wow.
It's so tough because, like,
that is tough. I'm going to now forget every comedian that ever existed.
Yeah.
Aye.
This is always the way. And it's like, depends on the day and all that stuff. But like in this moment right now, you're like desperate for a giggle. Who do you want to say?
Right. The first person, I don't know if you know her, she's so funny, Susie McCabe. I don't know if you know Susie McCabe. Yeah. So Susie, I feel, why did I even say that? Do you know her? Of course you know her. She's amazing. So funny. I recently just saw her last week. Susie, I don't know if you know, she had a heart attack during the summer. I have never seen someone make the topic of nearly dying so funny. Like, honestly, I was like, tears were going down my face. She's just amazing. So definitely Susie.
Love.
Who else?
Susie could just do it all, to be honest.
I think I'll just have Susie then.
No, but honestly,
Susie opening, Susie.
But Susie's an excellent compare, an excellent
She's
main
just
slot.
Amazing. Like,
you're never going to be let down.
No, absolutely. I like pure look up to her. Like I replaced, like, she had a gig one week and she couldn't do it, and she asked if I would do it for her, and I just went on and introduced myself as like Susie's apprentice. So I feel like we've very much got the same thing going on. You know, we both like football and tenants, so it's just
perfect.
Definitely Susie. I love Frankie Boyle.
I was going to say, you're just going to do the entire cast. I think I'm just going to do it.
I gigged with Christopher a couple of weeks ago, and he is the nicest person I've ever met. So, you know what? Here comes the guillotine. I'm just going to ask every of them if they can do a show. They are actually doing a show. Look at me plugging them.
They are doing a show.
Aye.
Yeah.
So I just stay free. That'll do.
I would just love to be in the edit for that podcast, because I reckon there's got to be serious conversations every time. Like, do we need to legal this one?
Absolutely. There must be so much. I think they must film for about maybe 4 hours to just get 1 hour.
So good. But they are all brilliant and bonkers in their own wonderful ways. We're going Susie, we're going Frankie Boyle, and Christopher MacArthur Boyd.
Yep.
Yeah?
That's it. That's all I need.
Perfect. Amazing. And then what about you open for them? So we do a bit of everything. We've got the 4 of you.
Aye. I have been trying to get in to the podcast game, so maybe I could.
That's how we do it. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, no, I would definitely come to that show. That sounds brilliant. Now, we've gone from giggles to something a little bit heavier, but I feel like, as we said in the intro, this podcast is all about taking a kind of closer look at emotional well-being, mental wellness kind of thing. So I wondered, and it seems like a simple question, if you could tell us how you're feeling today.
I'm all right. I've had the last couple of weeks, I've been in a wee bit of a lull, but I feel like I'm coming out of it, so that's good. But just stressed, and I don't know. I feel like I'm at a point right now where there's a lot of pressure on me, and it's pressure I'm putting on myself. But I'm just floating now, and I felt like I was thinking a bit, but I feel like I'm coming back out it.
Okay.
I should have just said I'm fine.
No, you shouldn't have. Because if you'd said that, I'd have pressed you. But it is, I feel like, you know, and it's quite, I don't know if it's a bit cliche to say this, but I've been having similar conversations just with pals and, you know, actually to a certain extent with myself. And I think that it's a very real moment at this kind of time of year and this kind of lull in between, you know, seasons and in between, you know, phases of life. I feel it as well.
Yeah.
And I just don't think you're alone in that one, because people are kind of grappling with, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And it's not kind of maybe necessarily coming fast enough in the moment. But you have been smashing it out of the park and so busy.
I know. And that's the thing, it's trying to like teach myself, like, right, you need to just enjoy this. But there's almost like a guilt if you stop. You know what I mean? If you stop, you're like, oh no, and then the minute you do something, it's like, well, what's next? I need to be doing something else. I need to think about what's next. And it's trying to really manage that. It's just, yeah.
Because the kind of peak of, well, every comedian speaks about the Fringe as though it's like this, you know, real kind of baptism of like, I've made it because I'm doing the Fringe, and it get every year, bigger venue, bigger crowd, you know, kind of climbing up those ranks. Did you feel like the Fringe was that moment for you where it was like, yeah, I'm doing it, I'm living the dream?
Well, I think before it, you know, it was one of those things like, oh, if I ever done the Edinburgh Fringe, I would feel like that's me, I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. But it's just this horrible thing where you do it and then it's like, okay, right now you need to think about next year. And you don't really give yourself time to like, right, just enjoy the moment, enjoy this, because it's just a guilt. You just feel like, oh, I can't move on.
Sit with it and just go, well done.
Yep.
Yeah. So did you feel that pressure like immediately off the back of the run then, that it had to be on to the next one?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I took maybe a couple of weeks off just to, you know,
sleep?
Yeah, just get myself together. But then it's like this time of year, this is where people are talking. You'll see that now, like the Glasgow Comedy Festival's now being announced. So then you're thinking, oh no, I now need to write a new show. I've just spent all this time on this show. Because it's just so fat. Like comedians, it's like you have a body of work and they really only get like a year out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe a year and a half, and then you've got to like move on to something else. So it's, and this is I've no experience. So it's now this like, oh, I need to think of something else now. And
so how does it compare? Obviously, when we're seeing your videos online, and they are brilliant and they are reaching me at every moment of my day, which is great. So good. And just when you need a giggle and you need a laugh, and it's just so thank you. But how does it compare going, right, this is a kind of quick talking head moment for me. I'll ping that out there. I'll do it. I'm sure there's more to it than that. But compared to then creating a live show where you've got to be standing and entertaining for a certain length of time.
You've pretty much summed it up, because that is how simple my like online TikTok journey, like it literally is me just going, oh, that'd be funny, pull the phone out and I just do it. And most of it is just improv, and I just, you know, I don't, but it's the difference between that and stand up, where you've got to write something and then you've got to go out and test it, and then you've got to learn it, and you've got to start with a 5 and you build that to a 10, and it's just it's so labour intensive. But the rewards are so much. I mean, the opportunities that have come to my door just through doing stand-up has been amazing. So it's risk and reward, I suppose. It's more risk, it's harder, but the reward is like better. But it's just like night and day. It's so different.
Yeah, and I suppose you're essentially bearing your soul, because you're going, this is stuff that's happened to me that I'm seeing the funny side of it. Come and see it as well.
Absolutely. Well, that's it. I mean, there's things as well. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's certain stories. Sometimes it is just because of no censorship, but because like maybe online you can't really talk about certain things, or you'll get like, you know, your video taken down. So a lot of it is that, but there is certain things I do talk about in stand up that I just wouldn't want to live online. You know what I mean? So it's nice. It's like a form of therapy, to be honest with you.
I hope Netflix aren't listening, because you would like a special.
Absolutely. Whatever camera I need to look at for that.
But that's an art form in itself. Knowing what aspects of your kind of set or your routine cater to the right audiences, and what's going to really thrive online isn't necessarily going to really thrive in a room, in an auditorium. So figuring that out.
Yeah, so I think with online it's very much, you know, like what's like trending, or not trending, but you know, if there's like, I done a video about Ticketmaster and Oasis tickets, so I done a video about that, so that went really well. So there's stand up that wouldn't, you know, if I was to go on a stage tonight and talk about Ticketmaster, people would be like, all right.
But if you don't really get at the time,
if you did it at the time, so it's more like, but when you're doing stand up, it is you're writing something, because that's one thing about me, I'm really daft, and I used to just not assume, But when I seen stand-up comedians, I thought, oh, they're just up there talking for an hour.
Yeah.
You're not really thinking like, oh no, this is a very, very rehearsed piece of work that they've like. And I think the best stand-up comedians are people that just make it seem like they're just up there and they're just chatting away.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like people have like wrote this and they've rehearsed it, and it's like a script that someone's just. So I think because of that, with stand-up, the content has to be more kind of, you know, it can...
Like evergreen.
Yeah. Where there's like online, you can just be, oh, this is popular now, I can just talk about this and put it up there and that's it.
So how do you even get your head around producing an entire show?
Yeah, I don't know. You just... What you do is you agree to do it.
Yeah. And then you panic.
And then you're like, I need... Because that's really what it came down to, because if... I've always wanted to do stand-up, and it was one of those things like, next year I'll do it. Oh, definitely next year. I'm going to do it. But then it turns out if you just say yes and sign a contract, you'll find that you will write your show. Your show will come. Might not be great, but it'll...
Oh my God, but it's so true. Like, I need that pressure in my life as well to get
sign a contract.
You've got to do it now.
Yeah.
It's got to happen. Do you remember that first moment when you did kind of go out to a crowd and perform?
Yeah, the very first time, so it was just February this year.
Wow.
I went to, it's in Edinburgh, it's at Monkey Barrow, what's it called? I can't remember, but the concept of it is you put your name in a bucket and it gets picked out. So I remember I went with my friend and I couldn't even, like, she had something to eat and I was like, I can't even eat, I feel ill. Like, I was like shaking, I was like so nervous. And then I went and did it. I was so lucky I got picked second out of like about 30 people.
So you couldn't stew all night, which is good.
So I went up and it was great, and then that feeling after it, I was like, oh my God, I'm the best person ever. Like, this is amazing. So I do remember that. I still get nervous, but that was like, as I said, I couldn't even eat. I was just like shaking. I was just...
But the elation after
it, you're like, oh, that's great. I should do that again sometime.
Amazing. I'm quite curious about what the reaction has been like amongst your kind of peers, like in comedy, because I feel like a lot of the time, and I mentioned the Fringe before, you know, you hear stories. See, if you're watching like Graham Norton or something, everyone's sitting down, they've all got this story of like slumming it at every terrible slot in the country, like on the night shift, working, you know, doggedly to do this. What's the reaction been from kind of comics around you? Have they been like, you know, oh, so you make videos, so you think you can do this and I've been working for 100 years? Or have they been dead welcoming?
They've been dead welcoming. In my head, I thought they were going to be like that. And I've been so paranoid about it. So, I mean, I've tried to put the work in. I mean, I've went and done courses. I've, you know, just been going, like, for years now, I've just been going to comedy night. Like, I've really tried to put the work in behind the scenes. So I think maybe that's it. Maybe it's like, well, you're not just walking in the door and going, oh, I can do this or whatever. But I did have that in my head. I was like, oh, they're all going to hate me. You know, they're all going to, oh, here's this lassie for TikTok trying to do it. But every single comedian I've came across have been absolutely lovely and just so nice and just...
like, welcome to the club.
Yep, absolutely.
So good.
So it's been good. I've been lucky.
Because it's like, not like you haven't put in the graft, it's just a different approach. And I feel like sometimes people believe that, like, because they've done X, Y, and Z, that must be the only route. So that's really reassuring for someone who may be sitting at home making content themselves.
Yeah, people will be. I mean, as I said, you've got to be respectful about it, and you've got to. But it has been nice. I mean, see, like, even talking about the Fringe, I mean, I had like a horrible guilt at times because I would be going to see my friends who would be struggling to pull people in, and I'm like, I feel like the Fringe was hard, but part of me did feel like, oh, I feel like I'm doing this on easy mode. Like, I'm not really, you know what I mean? And there was like a guilt associated with that, which was horrible. Like, and people were like, well, just enjoy, just take it. And I'm like, I need to, but
there's a niggle in the back of your brain.
You go to shows that be people like friends of mine that I'm like, you're so funny, and I'm sitting in a crowd with maybe 3 other people, and I'm like, I wish people who were coming to see me could just come see you and try and promote them on. But there's only so much promoting you can do to try and get someone to a show. So, but everyone, the Glasgow comedy scene, I love it. Just everyone's so nice. It's just, so I'm very, very lucky.
That's amazing. I feel right at home.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Sometimes those shows where there's nobody in the audience, you always see every year there'll be something in the papers or online.
I hate it.
there was only one person in the crowd and they happened to be a reviewer for The Guardian and I got 5 stars. Yeah. I sold out every show. So sometimes it works.
Absolutely. But every year, there's that one story, like, nobody turned up to my show. And it's like, but you've managed to find the first newspaper that was...
Yes, exactly. But what a trajectory, though, from making videos to doing your first kind of live stand-up bit, you know, and then ended up doing the Fringe, and then I suppose the question is, what's next?
That's it. That is what is next.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out. You know what? I would love to do more writing.
Yeah.
I was quite lucky. I got to go to the BBC a couple of weeks ago with Greg Hemphill, and I was like, oh my God, and Rab Florence, and I met them, and I was like, what? And that is really, I think, off the back of probably my stand-up, I think, anyway.
Wow.
So it's been amazing. I would like to do more writing stuff, but right now I need to try and think of next year. I think my show this year was more of just an introduction. It was just like, right, here's just a collection of stories and we'll just do it. But I think next year I want more of like a concept of a show, you know, more of a... So I was trying to figure out what's that going to be. So I've not figured it out yet.
Sign a contract.
Well, I'm going to sign a contract.
I've heard that works.
Absolutely.
No, but I mean, it's a hell of a lot of pressure. And actually, you know, using Susie as an example, I think that I would used to go to the Stand a lot at uni. I think it's just one of those ones, a cheap night out and a good time, basically. And I think at every phase of Susie's life, every time I went, her story had evolved. So for a start, she was married, and then she was breaking up, and then she was seeing someone new, and then she was, you know, going through and at every phase of her life, it seemed that we'd sit down and we would just get an update. And I was going to the Stand at certain points just going, what's next for Susie? What's happened? You know, because it was that kind of follow through over a period of years, which was quite very intimate and very powerful to be, you know, welcomed into that in someone's life. Absolutely. Do you find it challenging to draw a boundary between what you will share and what you won't share?
I mean, so this show that I've just done, a lot of it was just childhood stuff and just funny things. Like, I got sacked once, and it is a fun. I'm not going to say it because it's part of the reveal is part of the show, but it is one of the funniest ways you could ever get sacked. And this wasn't just I was a supervisor in this job. This was my career. Yeah. And yeah, I'll tell you after it. Okay. If you want to see it, come see my show.
There we go. Pluggity plug.
But yeah, I think I haven't really spoke about anything deeply personal, and I think that is probably something I would like to tap into and finding those kind of traumatic moments and find it. I mean, I did do it a wee bit, but yeah, I don't really, you know, I don't really talk about my personal life. I've got a partner, I don't really discuss her. I'm very protective of that. But I would like to get to a point where I'm able to, I mean, she'll be raging, but I would like to get to a point where I'm able to maybe...
You said you're watching her do something daft and thinking, that could be a joke.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, you've got to set that framework for yourself. And I think as well, when you're kind of, obviously there's a lot of momentum behind you now, but when you're starting out as well, I suppose you have to be conscious of what you're prepared to... Yeah. And while you're figuring it out to a certain extent as well.
Yeah, I think that comes from doing stuff online for so many years, because people online can be a bit unhinged. You know what I mean? So it is a bit of a protection. I don't want to reveal, and it's just because I've seen it with other people. I've seen people who, you know, share so much of their life, and then that's suddenly used against them. Not used against them, but it is just...
Yeah, there's a paper trail.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I think it is just, I've put up a wee bit of guard in certain aspects of my life. But I would like to get to a point where I can just be completely free and just...
Yeah, you'll get there.
I will.
But it has to be on your terms.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Crucial. Absolutely. Speaking about that first kind of experience, I'm picturing you in Monkey Barrel, rocking back and forth, not be able to eat a chicken tender. But that's a lot. How did you overcome? Was it just biting the bullet and doing it to overcome the anxiety?
It was. I mean, for years, my anxiety has just got right in front of ever doing stand up, and I don't know. It was kind of like a mindset this year where, I don't know to get too I remember it wasn't close to him, but I remember in my family died at the beginning of last year. He was only 28, and it was just kind of, I don't know, something in my head was like, man, life's short, and this is something I want to do, and do I really want to be missing out on this because I'm too scared? And I think it also just try to be rational about it. You're going to go do this, if it goes bad, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, what is the worst that's going to happen? Like, nothing.
A red face moment. That
nobody's going to die. You're in a room full of people. Nobody really knows who you are. Like, nothing bad's going to happen. So I think him passing just kind of set like a wee fire in me to be like, man, like, life's so short. Like, I need to just go for it. I just need to go for it because I just don't want to. It was getting to that point where it's like, I'd rather try it and fail than never try at all. You know, so
yeah, not sitting in a rocking chair going, I could have done that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just I just don't want to die with any regrets. So, which is a bit morbid. I'm sorry.
Well, it isn't because it's like I know we've all got reasons why we've gone down certain routes and stuff, and I think it's a very powerful, motivator. And I think that's a lot of people can unfortunately relate to.
Yep.
That kind of knowledge that you only get one shot. Although I will say a lot of the time with I'm quite an anxious person myself and have struggled and kind of got my coping mechanisms in place, having spoken to people and maybe taking tablets and things like that to get through. When you are in a live format kind of talking to people, that could be one of the most anxiety inducing things possible.
Yep.
But I find it very cathartic and I don't know why, whereas I'd struggle to maybe insert myself into a social group more than I would struggle to stand up on a stage and say, hello, this is me, like our lumpet. Do you find it's been quite helpful from an anxiety perspective, or has it been something to overcome?
It's been something to overcome, but that in itself has then became quite helpful.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, you meant like medication as well has helped. I'm not going to but I think with a lot of the physical symptoms, medications definitely. So I've 100% going to the doctor because that's what I had to do. I had to go to the doctor and speak to him and be like, look, this is something I want to do, but my body is like making it really difficult. So that definitely helped. But yeah, it's been challenging, but I think coming out the other end of it has been like, whoa, I could do that. That's mad.
Yeah.
That's something that I told myself that you'll never be able to do that.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been really hard, and I wouldn't say I've overcame it, but I never would have dreamed I'd have done this. Never in a million years.
That's so cool. And we don't take stock. We don't sit back and go, it is always on to the next thing. Sometimes I find that it's mad things like these daft Facebook memories and whatever, and my phone going like, remember this day, and you're like, I forgot all about that because I was putting pressure on myself to do the next thing.
Yeah.
And whether it's just how often do we sit and go, I think that past me would have been really chuffed with where I'm at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, you just don't take that time. And take that time. Everyone take that time. Everyone watching, take time to be proud of yourself right now.
Yeah. I got nervous thinking about that. I was like, proud of me, but it is so crucial.
I almost feel embarrassed as well. Like I won an award during the Fringe.
Yeah.
And I'm just so like, I just don't even talk. I just downplay it. When people bring it up, I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, because it's like,
I've just brought it up. Actually, it seems that's quite ironic. But you know what I mean? It is that when someone tries to bring up your accomplishments, there's almost like an element of embarrassment. Like, don't talk about that.
Or you try and fling it back on the person. Yeah, but you also.
But look at you.
You should have it. Want it? Do you want it?
Take it. I don't.
What's wrong with us?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
Because that's amazing. That's so good.
I know. And it's like, I haven't really ever. Like, I put up my wee post, then after I just like put it away and I was like, well, just forget about that. I don't know why our minds did, or why I don't know.
First of many. And then you'll have to get used to it because they'll take over your house and you'll be like, can't you hide these under the bed anymore? Gotta put them on the mantelpiece or something. But do you think that obviously kind of, you're entering this new phase of your life where these things that you'd only kind of imagined are starting to happen in a big way, which is amazing. Do you think that a younger version of you would have expected this to happen, or what would you be thinking?
I think when I was really young, because I've always loved stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But I remember being younger and thinking, oh, that would be so cool to do. I couldn't do it, but that would be really cool to do because I think it was just so unattainable. And then when I started to do comedy online, I was like, okay, and that was like something that people would constantly say, oh, you should do stand-up, And I was like, I'm going to do it one day. But I still was just like, no. So I definitely, if my younger version of me could see me now, it would be over the moon.
Yeah.
If they'd seen me 5 years ago, they'd be raging. So I wasn't up to much.
You're thinking, what a waste of time. Come
Honestly,
on.
they would be like, well, what are you doing? But now they would be, I think I've made her proud, so that's nice.
That's so cool. How many people can say that? And actually, this is another one to kind of look at yourself and go, you know, got to think about that. And I want to make sure that past me would be chuffed to bits about what I'm doing.
This is dead nice. I feel like I'm doing therapy right now. This is lovely.
Well, let me take some notes. Nah, but really, because it is one of those ones where so many dreams. I mean, how many kids were like, I'm going to be a vet? And okay, right, we're not all vets.
Yeah.
But, you know, the things that are tangible that you can do to kind of call back to what you wanted to be when you were younger is really, really cool. I think it's quite interesting that Susie came up as an example of your favourite comics, because there's like, she's just such a wonderful advocate for LGBTQ plus people and out there. And actually at a time when I first saw her, being really transparent about being a lesbian in Scotland and kind of her romantic like peaks and troughs, shall we say. And it was just really refreshing. And now I feel like it's just like, obviously, like, duh, like you're out there being yourself, that's great. Do you think that's why she's quite a big role model for you as well, because she's speaking to that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I can relate, because the first time I'd ever heard Susie was actually on Sean's podcast, Blether, years ago.
Yeah.
And I sent her, this is when she was on Twitter, and I sent her a message. I think it was like 2019, and I sent her a message, and I was like, I've just listened. That was amazing. You know, I feel like I can relate to a lot you were saying. So I've just always looked up to Susie. And, you know, there's a wee bit an age gap between us, and I feel like, you know, she always jokes, but she always like talks to younger like lesbians or gays and go, I fought for you. Like, I marched for you. But I think it's true. Like, she had to
suffragette hat on.
Definitely though, because I do think she had to take a lot of the, because it's hard, you know, it's hard to be like, you know, like a
male-dominated environment,
and, you know,
as well.
And, and she's just always been amazing. So yeah, no, definitely.
And do you ever sit with the fact that you're doing that for people? Like you're like the Susie for those people coming through?
I mean, I can't picture that. But I think the world's different as well now, because I feel like I don't know.
It's like less of a thing.
Yeah, which is good. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I want it to be.
Totally.
Yeah. But you want people to be able to like look at you, but you don't want to need to have, I can't even word it, you don't want to have to be that person for someone. You want people to still be able to, I can't figure out what I'm trying to say here.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Like, you don't want a world where
it's like a tokenistic thing.
Yeah, that's so much. That's what I'm trying to say.
But that's what you said.
Yeah,
don't worry.
If I can just start the sentence for you and finish it, that'd be amazing.
That's so cute. Oh, that's what we'll do, a little double act. I'll finish it.
But
so it shouldn't have to be a case of like, you know, this is someone that completely aligns with everything that I am, so therefore I feel seen, you know, just enough to have different people out there doing their thing and kind of,
Absolutely. And I do think we're definitely getting towards that.
Yeah.
The comedy scene's brutal though, like for women, like as it's always notoriously been, and I do think it is getting better, but that is I just wish it was better for female comedians, because it is always, if you look at any lineup,
I was going to say
all but one, it's always all men, and then there's one token women. And now promoters have got this thing where it's like, if they just get one woman, then they've passed the post, so no one's going to give them any grief. And it's like, I can see right through you. Like, I can see.
But like, I mean, I can't even ask why, because it's too big an issue. Like, it's too vast. But in a world where there are so many brilliant female comics, it does not make sense.
No, absolutely not.
Like, it's bonkers.
No, and especially, I mean, I don't know, there's a comedy night, I always talk about it because I love it, but every last Sunday at the Stand, there's a show called Material Girl. And it's an all-female lineup, and it is just the most, I just love it. And I love it. And it's Amanda Dwyer and Susan Riddle. They've put it together just so women have a place. And we shouldn't need that.
I know.
But their show alone showcases how many female comedians there are. Because always the excuse is, well, there's just not as many. And it's like, they run a show, they're able to get 5 different comedians on every month. That's not an excuse. We're out there. You're just not choosing to pick us because you're biased.
Do you think it puts women off entering?
Absolutely.
You know, you could have so many people with untapped brilliance just sitting at home, like writing incredible one-liners, and they don't feel welcome in that environment, so they don't go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things as well. If you don't see it, Like we're saying, like, I don't want you to have to look at me and be like, oh, I can do that. But if you don't see it, then you don't really think it's as attainable.
Yeah.
The Glasgow International Comedy Festival. So I did it last year, and it's amazing. They're doing it again this year. They're doing a free course for women and marginalised genders who want to get into stand-up comedy.
Class.
And it's so good. So I did it last year. It was amazing. It's with Viv G. Krista, who's the director of the festival, she's just desperate to get women in. And as I said, they do it free of charge for people just to come in. So there's definitely things happening, which is good. And we're definitely progressing, but I do just wish we didn't have to do all this. Like, prove ourselves, you know.
Yeah. Because it's like so one way, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's so weighted to the other side. I know, like, it's quite interesting hearing you talk about the craft and the study that's gone into being a stand-up comedian. I don't think, actually probably was on the same page as you, thinking, these people just stand up and are funny. Wow. And, you know, of course it couldn't possibly be the same thing for a full month run. No, obviously it's different every night. I wouldn't have known that there were courses and that there were, you know, things like that. So can you tell us even more about that, please? Because I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. So Viv G, if you're in Glasgow, Viv G is the person to go to. She runs courses throughout the year. And it really just helps. For me, it really just helped my confidence.
Yeah.
Because you do a course and at the end of it, you get to do a show. So the way it worked at the beginning of the year, I done my first show was with Viv in our course, and then the following night I had my own solo show. So it was almost like a wee warm-up for my show.
Brilliant.
It lined perfectly. But people, you can go, and it helps even just the technical aspect to writing a joke. It's something, you know, the theory behind it is dead interesting, and you know, learning like how a joke's actually structured. So I would 100% recommend it if anyone wants to. I think nearly every Susie done a course. Nearly every single comedian you see in Glasgow.
I think that this would be a thing? Because it's mad. Because you get training for every job, and you go through, you know. But I've never comprehended the fact that could be. But of course, it's an art form. It should be studied. It should be honed.
That's how Susie got in it. So Susie, our pal, signed her up for the course. Susie was never. She talks about this quite a lot, but she was never going to be there was never like in her lines to be a comedian.
Yeah.
She got signed up for the course, and her pal Dale did her. She's like, all right, I'll do it, and then they done it, and then she's a comedian.
So if you know somebody funny, sign them up.
Aye, because it's for some people. It is just having that wee push of confidence. And that all it was for me was just being in an environment where I could speak about it and really have that encouragement. And Viv, who does the courses in Glasgow, is the nicest and most encouraging person in the world. So 100%, if people should do it if they want to. Viv will be like, thanks, Hen. Thanks for the show.
Thanks for the plug. But that's brilliant. It's really nice as well that it's catering to maybe more marginalised groups as well, who maybe don't feel necessarily that the door is open for them.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're shoving it open actually right now, and you're going to be a part of it. Is really powerful.
Yep.
Yeah. And in terms of like representation and things like that, you know, if you are thinking back to yourself younger, can you give us a little bit of advice potentially for anyone listening that might be grappling with their sexuality and thinking that they don't have a voice in certain arenas?
Yeah, anyone grappling with their sexuality, I would always tell people that there's no rush to figure it out, and it's a journey, you know. I did the whole, I thought I was bisexual and then went to and realised I'm gay. But one thing I did want to, just thinking about that and being, and it's going to sound dead cheesy, right? See, when I was younger, I always kind of feel like I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in, and I hated that. I wanted to just be like everyone else, and I think a lot of young people are like that. They just want to fit in, they just want to be like everyone else. See, when you get older, you find out that standing out is like a superpower. It is like amazing. It's just... even for silly things like job interviews or whatever, just standing out. And as I say, everything that I hated in a way about myself when I was younger, I love about myself as an adult. Wow. You know?
Yeah.
So, if you're grappling with your sexuality or you feel a bit different, you don't feel like, just embrace it. Just know, especially the sexuality aspect, there is no pressure. You'll figure it out. You've got all the time in the world.
Yeah. All you want to do is blend in with what's our age, isn't it?
It is. And it's sad, you know, like if you, when I was younger, if you gave me a tablet and said, if you take this, you'll just be like all the other girls, I would have took it in a heartbeat.
Seriously?
I would have took it in a heartbeat because I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to be like everyone else. I was like, why am I different? Why am I not as feminine as them? Why do I not like boys the same way they like boys and whatever? And then it took me years, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a overnight thing, but probably when I hit my 20s, where I was like, oh my God, like I love this about me. This is so cool. Like I feel like this is the parts that people love about me, you know, being a bit different, being a bit weird and being a bit so it's just, and it's a shame that I think when we're in high school and in that environment, you just want to fit in, you just want to be like everyone else, but don't.
Well, because all you're doing is stifling the parts of you that, as you say, have gone on to be your favourite parts, which is so nice. That's so lovely. Yeah, and really powerful to kind of look back on. Honestly, there's so many phases of life where you're just like, give me the camouflage, let me blend in, let me just be in the background. But then you wouldn't be you, I suppose. And clearly you resonate with a lot of people, because the numbers speak for themselves. The reaction from people actively wanting to share and say, this is brilliant, have you seen Kim? This is so good. You know, if you had hidden those parts of you away, you know, that wouldn't be a thing.
No, absolutely not. You know, if I'd just blended in and was just like everyone else, I'd be boring. And I don't mean that, not to say that everyone else is boring, but being that person that does mute themselves and that, it is boring.
Turn down the volume on your personality, turn down the volume on who you are.
Yep. No, just embrace it, and if anyone's got a problem with it, it's them. It's not you.
Aye. That's what the block button's for.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so true, because I mean, also, you know, we all have our kind of struggles, and our mental health is a continuing kind of process throughout our lives to get to a good point with it. But imagine trying to do that when you're not allowing yourself to be authentically yourself, because that would just magnify every issue tenfold, surely.
Absolutely.
Do you know? We kind of mentioned a little bit, and as I say, it's an ongoing process, but do you have any advice, things that you do to kind of protect your mental well-being at this point?
I think what I'm learning now is listening to my body. Like really checking in, because it's something I've never really done before, and I think it's because to do stand-up, to do these types of things, you do kind of need to be in a good place mentally, because it is very difficult to get up on a stage if you're not feeling good. So doing this has allowed me to really check in with myself mentally and be like, right, how am I actually feeling? And then not feeling guilty if you have to give yourself the day off from everything. Just giving yourself that grace to be like, you know what, you're not feeling good. Just lie in bed. Don't look at your phone, or look at your phone, but don't look at your notification. Like, just kind of switch off for that side of it. So I think listening to my body, and then trying to combat that guilt when you do have to take a bit of time out, just being like, look, it's fine.
Because it's going to make you better.
Aye, but that's what I've literally done the last week.
Yeah.
Like last week, like I was at my mum's the other day, and she's like, you've not really posted anything. And I'm like, just give me time, Jennifer.
Excuse me. I'm recharging.
But that's it. And then, as I said, you come out I mean, I'm feeling better today, and I can only imagine I'm going to just eventually get back to myself. I'm already kind of feeling like myself. But it's just listening to your body and just taking time out when you need it.
Yeah.
And said not feeling guilty about that.
And it's so relatable that you mentioned guilt at that point, because how often and how many people kind of listening have that go, and then the inevitable crash. And I think if you catch it before it becomes a crash and make a choice,
absolutely,
there's power in that. Yeah. So I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's so much power in just allowing yourself time to breathe, especially when you've come off a wild summer. You know, but then it's like the dip. That's what we spoke about right at the start. You're kind of in that in-betweeny time. Yep. But going into it feeling kind of refreshed.
Yep. It definitely is. As for me, it's trying to fight the guilt, because it is the guilt. It's like if I'm not doing something, you know, like I said, I haven't really posted much in the last week, and then it is that guilt, like, oh, I need to do this, or I need to do that, I need to do that, and it is just being like, no, you don't. You actually don't. Like, your head's a bit more important than your silly wee video. No, I don't play it, but you know what I mean. It is like it's,
and you'd know yourself if you're putting something out that's you'd actually like, my heart wasn't in that. That wasn't really me. Aye, better to wait and come up with something that feels
100%. Aye, so yeah, that's what I would say. Just checking in with yourself and not feeling guilty for taking time out.
Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah.
I'm conscious it's time to get merch out. Do we have hats and t-shirts?
When will this be out, actually? Because it really depends when this will be out.
November.
Well, no then. No, I've got... I'm doing 2 shows at the Oranmore on the 1st and 3rd of November. You've missed it. So no, I don't have it to plug right now. I will be I will 100% be doing a show at the Glasgow Comedy Festival, which will be in March. The show title to be decided.
Vote now.
Write in the comments what I should call the show, and I'll do it.
This is dangerous. We'll keep that
in. So yeah, no, that just look out. I'm doing stand up all over the place in Glasgow. At least once a week, I do stand up somewhere. So just keep your eyes out for me.
Come and find you.
Come find me.
But how exciting that we're sitting in a position now where you'll have a whole new body of work that's coming out that everyone's going to be able to enjoy, and we don't even really know what it's going to look like yet. Like, it could
That's mad. I can't wait to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
And be like, I didn't even know.
I know, it's so cool.
That is cool. Definitely to help writing it. So if you're got any ideas?
Yeah, I'll finish your sentences.
Yeah.
That's it.
That'll be our show. Just me starting it and you finish.
I'm actually not very funny. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. This has been lovely.
It's been so lovely. So thank you to everyone who's tuned in for listening. Remember, if you need help or support with how you're feeling, Young Scot have tons of information for you at young.scot/AyeFeel. That's young.scot/AyeFeel. Like I.
Aye. Smart.
If you want to follow Kim's work, and you absolutely should, then make sure that you are, following on TikTok using @KBFilms92. Correct? Good. And don't forget, if you're under 26, then make sure to get your free Young Scot National Entitlement Card with thousands of discounts in Scotland and across Europe, subsidised public transport, and a whole lot more. Visit young.scot/card for more information. Now, finally, this is cool. Right, this is really cool. Right. Young Scot members can claim 100 reward points for listening to this episode.
No way.
By visiting Young Scot membership and typing in comedian for your points code. There you go.
I love it.
You've got your own code.
Remember that comedian?
It's a big moment. It really is. If you're not a member yet, visit young.scot/membership to get started today and earn points for activities and access exciting rewards. So that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of This Is How I Feel. And if you have, then please rate, review and subscribe to us, which means you'll get instant access as soon as the next episode drops. Looking forward to next time. All right.